A Polish man married a Canadian woman after living in Canada for about a year. Though his English wasn't perfect, the couple got along well. One day, however, he rushed into a lawyer's office and asked, "Can you arrange a divorce for me, very quick?" The lawyer explained that the speed of a divorce depended on the circumstances and began asking questions. Lawyer: "Do you have any grounds?" Polish man: "An acre and a half, and a nice 3-bedroom house." Lawyer: "No, I mean, what is the foundation of the case?" Polish man: "Oh, concrete, bricks, and mortar." Lawyer: "Do either of you have a real grudge?" Polish man: "No, but we have a carport, don't need a grudge." Lawyer: "I mean, what are your relations like?" Polish man: "All my relations live in Poland." Lawyer: "Is there any infidelity in your marriage?" Polish man: "Yes. We have a high-fidelity stereo and a DVD player with 6.1 surround sound." Lawyer: "No, I mean, does your wife beat you up?" Polish man: "No, I'm always up before her." Lawyer: "Then why do you want this divorce?" Polish man: "She is going to kill me." Lawyer: "What makes you think that?" Polish man: "I got proof." Lawyer: "What kind of proof?" Polish man: "She bought a bottle at the drugstore, and I read the label. It says, polish remover." Two friends, Ben and Carl, heard that a new lighthouse was hiring keepers, so they decided to apply. After waiting in the lobby, Ben was called in first. The supervisor asked, "Do you have any experience working in lighthouses?" "Absolutely," Ben replied confidently. "How tall was the lighthouse?" "Oh, about 15 feet. The supervisor frowned. "Our lighthouse is over 100 feet tall. I'm afraid you don't have the experience we're looking for." As Ben left, he whispered to Carl, "Whatever you do, tell him you worked at a really tall lighthouse." A few minutes later, Carl was called in. The supervisor asked, "Have you ever worked in a lighthouse before?" "Oh, yes," Carl answered. "How tall was it?" "About 2,000 feet. The supervisor's eyebrows shot up. 2,000 feet? That's incredible. How did you ever see ships from that high up?" Carl smiled and replied, "Oh, that wasn't a problem. I always worked the day shift." A race car driver came home after a long day at the track and said to his wife, "You know, we've got a great system during a race. When the crew calls Signal 1, I get suited up. When they call Signal 2, I get into the car. And when they call Signal 3, I hit the gas and give it everything I've got." He grinned. "So from now on, when I say Signal 1, I want you to get ready. When I say Signal 2, meet me on the couch. And when I say Signal 3, we'll have ourselves a romantic evening." His wife laughed and agreed. The next evening he came home and shouted, "Signal 1!" She quickly got ready. A moment later he called, "Signal 2!" She joined him on the couch. Then he smiled and announced, "Signal 3!" They started getting affectionate. After a couple of minutes, his wife suddenly called out, "Signal 4!" He stopped and asked, "What's Signal 4?" She smiled and replied, "Pit stop, you're nowhere near the finish line." A man had been missing for several days, so his neighbor convinced his wife it was time to report him to the local police. At the station, the officer pulled out a notepad and asked, "Can you describe your husband for me?" The wife smiled. "Certainly. He's about 35 years old, 6'2", athletic, charming, always well dressed, and he treats me like royalty." Her neighbor nearly choked. "What are you talking about?" she blurted out. "Your husband is 58, barely 5'5", overweight, grumpy, and he spends half the day complaining about everything." The wife nodded. "I know." The officer looked confused. "So why did you give me that other description?" She smiled sweetly and said, "Because if you find that man, my husband can stay missing." A blonde buys 2 horses, and she can't tell them apart. So she asks the farmer next door what to do. He says to cut one of their tails off. So she does. But then the other horse's tail gets caught in a bush and rips off. So she can't tell them apart again. She asks the farmer for advice a second time. He tells her to cut one of the horse's ears. So she does. But then the other horse gets its ear ripped in a barbed wire fence. She is still confused. She asks the farmer what to do. He tells her to measure them. She comes back and says, "The white horse is 2 inches taller than the black horse." A businessman flew to a tropical island a day ahead of his wife, who was arriving the following afternoon. After checking into his hotel, he decided to send her a quick text. Unfortunately, he mistyped one digit in her phone number. Instead, the message was delivered to an elderly woman whose husband had passed away just the day before. When the widow picked up her phone and read the message, she gasped, cried out, and collapsed into a chair. Her family rushed over, grabbed the phone, and read the message aloud. It said, "My darling, I've arrived safely. Everything is ready for you, and I can't wait for you to join me tomorrow. It's unbelievably hot down here." 3 coworkers finished work late one evening and discovered that the parking garage had been locked for the night. Their cars were trapped inside, and a tall security fence surrounded the entire lot. The first man looked up and said, "Dear Lord, please give me the strength and courage to get over this fence." Poof! He suddenly became incredibly strong and athletic. After a long struggle, he climbed over the fence and dropped down the other side. It took him nearly 2 hours. The second man watched and prayed, "Lord, please give me the strength, courage, and the ability to get over this fence." Poof! He found a discarded ladder nearby, leaned it against the fence, and climbed over with ease. It still took him almost an hour to figure everything out. The third man smiled and prayed, "Lord, please give me the strength, courage, ability, and intelligence to solve this problem." Poof! God turned him into a woman. She walked around the corner and used the pedestrian gate. A married couple went to a clinic where the husband was scheduled for a minor procedure. The doctor proudly introduced a brand new invention. "This machine," he explained, "can transfer stress from one person to another." He asked if they'd like to test it. The couple agreed. The doctor started by transferring 10% of the wife's daily stress to her husband. "Most men find this overwhelming," the doctor warned. But the husband just shrugged. "I feel fine." The doctor increased it to 25%. Still nothing. Then 50%. The husband smiled. "I honestly don't notice a thing." The doctor couldn't believe it. His pulse was steady. His blood pressure was perfect. Finally, the husband grinned and said, "If it's helping my wife, transfer all of it." The doctor did exactly that. His wife spent the rest of the day completely relaxed and happier than she'd been in years. The couple went home delighted with the experiment. When they pulled into the driveway, their next-door neighbor was lying unconscious on the front lawn. One Saturday morning, an old fisherman arrived at the local community center for a free fishing class. When he walked into the room, he discovered that he was the only person who had shown up. The instructor smiled awkwardly and asked, "Well, since it's just you, would you still like me to teach today's class?" The old fisherman shrugged. "I'm no expert, but if I went down to the lake and only one fish showed up, I'd still throw in a line." The instructor took that as encouragement and launched into his lesson. He explained every type of fishing rod, every kind of bait, every knot, every casting technique. An hour passed. Then another. Nearly 3 hours later, the instructor finally finished. Proud of himself, he asked, "So, what did you think of the class?" The old fisherman smiled politely. "Well, I'm no expert. But if I only had one fish on the hook, I sure wouldn't dump the whole tackle box on it." A man spent the weekend visiting his elderly uncle at a remote hunting cabin deep in the mountains. The next morning, his uncle cooked a hearty breakfast of pancakes, eggs, and sausage. As they ate, the man noticed a cloudy film on his plate. "Uncle, are these dishes clean?" His uncle replied. "They're as clean as sunshine can get 'em. Eat your breakfast." The man wasn't convinced, but he kept quiet. At lunch, they had homemade stew. This time he noticed dried food stuck around the rim of the bowl. "Seriously, are you sure these dishes are clean?" His uncle didn't even look up. "I already told you. They're as clean as sunshine can get 'em. Now quit worrying." That evening, the man decided to drive into town for dinner. As he opened the front door, the uncle's big old dog blocked the doorway and started growling. "Uncle! Your dog won't let me leave!" Without taking his eyes off the baseball game, the old man yelled, "Sunshine! Move away from the door!"